Hey folks, welcome back. In the last video, we broke down what logging without limits means, indexing, live tailing, archiving, and how it all fits together. Today's the payoff, how to turn that knowledge into real savings and run a leaner, smarter logging strategy. Let's dive in. This one can actually save you money. Step 1. Identify your biggest log offenders. Open Log Explorer, hit Patterns, and start filtering by team or service to see where the bulk is coming from. Here we are in Log Explorer. I'm selecting a longer time window, since my demo account has fewer logs, and switching to the Patterns view. I recommend a 1-week range to capture basic trends, or a full month if you want more depth. In Patterns, you'll see your logs grouped by volume, giving you a snapshot of what's costing you the most. Let's look at the top patterns. These high-volume logs matter because more volume means more indexing and more dollars spent. You won't see retention settings here, but patterns give you a clear peek into where your logging budget is going. So ask yourself, is this log genuinely useful or just noise? Click into specific logs and ask, do I need this much detail this often? If not, you've just found a place to trim. Start with the top offender. In your setup, you'll likely find a few logs hogging space. Inspect their content and decide if they're actually important. Check if the message is meaningful and structured the way you expect. Repetitive status updates or noisy debug logs, prime candidates for exclusion. Some logs, like in my case those synthetics ones, might be totally irrelevant. Once you're confident they're not needed, tag them for exclusion. Early on, don't waste time optimizing low-impact logs. For context, my demo has just 274 logs. Not worth tweaking in general, but let's keep going with this demo. But for you, make sure that you have a rough idea of how much you're going to save so that you don't invest resources on something that has a very little impact on the end of the month bill. But in your setup, estimate savings first. Use a rough estimate between $1 and $3 per million logs. That'll help prioritize what's worth your time. Got some logs to cut following the previous steps insights? Great, your next stop, the exclusion filter settings. At this point, you're ready to remove the clutter by setting up an exclusion filter. You've got a few different options, depending on what you're targeting. Option 1, add the exclusion filter directly from this view. That'll take you to the correct index and autofill the filter with your selected pattern. But before you commit, double-check that your query is actually catching the right logs. Sometimes patterns get messy, so you might need to tweak things to cast a wider or narrower net. Click View All to inspect the full list returned by your query. You can then decide whether to go more specific or make the match more generic. Whatever gets you the right logs. In my case, I'm excluding synthetic logs using a broader query. Once I've got that ready, I just copy it and head to the exclusion filter settings. If you're not sure which index a log belongs to, just click into one. You'll see the data.index at the top of the tags, which tells you where to apply the filter. In my example, the logs are in the main index. I'll replace the old query with a broader one that excludes more logs related to synthetic. Perfect. You don't have to exclude everything. You can keep, say, 10% for sampling. Once that's set, you're done. Here's where it can get tricky. Some logs just won't match cleanly. You might need to fine-tune the query or use parsing to catch the right pattern. If that's the case, check out our grok parsing video for advanced techniques. But once you've built the right query, boom, create that exclusion filter. You can fully exclude logs or keep a small sample, helpful if you still want to monitor trends without the full cost. Now let's say you've excluded logs but still want to track key trends, like error rates. Here's the trick. Create a log-based metric, count logs by status. Use it to calculate error rate, =error logs, total logs. Why use metrics? Because they're lightweight, retained for 15 months, and compatible with anomaly detection and ML-powered alerting. So let me show you how. We've created an exclusion filter. Now let's set up a metric so we can still track what's happening behind the scenes. Click New Metric at the top. Give it a name, and paste in the query you just used. That's it. Now you're tracking those logs as a metric. This keeps a rolling count of logs over 15 months. And if you want more granularity, you can filter by service too. For example, I can select my app, say app.dataiker.com, and break logs down by status, info, warning, and error. This builds a tag breakdown of the metrics so I can monitor trends even with most logs excluded. Now I can clearly track the error rate. I'll name the metric so it's easy to recognize in dashboards later. Pro tip, tag your metric with team and service. Even if they're static, those labels help later when scanning through metric summaries. Click Create Metric, and boom, you're done. It's now tracked and stored for the next 15 months. And that's the real power of logging without limits. It's not a one-time fix, it's a habit. Make it part of your routine. Start by checking every few days, then weekly, and eventually just once a quarter. Keep refining, keep optimizing. Keep your logs relevant. If this helped, smash that like button, subscribe for more Datadog tips, and drop a comment. What's your biggest logging pain point right now? I'd love to tackle it in the next video. Until then, happy monitoring.